Is not to use the Institute in the beginning of this turn. Only 2 chits drawn. The first one was Paranoia. I don't really mind Paranoia. That lets me buy Repressions cheaper. And I don't know. I can't buy Illumination. I may not even be able to use them, which would kind of suck because I have a couple. No, I can use them. So, you know, I wouldn't have bought them otherwise, so that's fine there. It also generated a transhuman. I decided to resolve that. It ended up coming up chaotic, but that's okay too. Those are fairly weak, 1/1 units because of the low chaos rating. And I figure I can toss... I can actually gain control of them and reduce my chaos. It doesn't really hurt for something small like that to show up. I may have to find some money to pay for units to attack them, unless I have some control groups here. I'm gonna have to wear this thing down though. That's the biggie for me. All right, well, let's see what the operations. There was a lurking problem out here. When I got to these rebels, nothing happened over on the rest of the board. They're getting a no move and attack result. Now they have a no combat, no military combat, but 2 psionics, and they're facing just a 1 for me. So if I can find the combat chart, they're a +1, and there's no leadership in here at all. And with a roll of 9, they're going to take over this entire stack, including the IO. That can be converted by combat. Which means I'm going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 off my index. But I also lose some 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 maintenance. This was a big stack of mine though that just converted over to chaotic, and that system's become significantly more powerful and might turn into an independent empire very easily. None of this stuff. Independent empire recruiting, that's this one. Just a +1. 5's not going to get anything. My resource collection, well, I got a nice bonus there, 10, 15 bucks in resources. But I kind of didn't want to lose all my pieces. I'm looking at things. I'm going to be doing morphogenetic attacks on both of these big forces. Well, I got a leader here. He could knock out these transhumans. I'd kind of like to get control of them though, and they're kind of safe to leave as they are, so I'm probably going to send them out on an expedition. My colony ships are ready to create more income, which I'm definitely going to need if I succeed in the attacks that I'm going to make. And I also used a couple extra bucks to buy some repression shits. I probably don't need them. You know, I'm going to save $1 of that. It's just at a bargain. It seems like a bad idea not to buy something. They're on sale, man. And let's take our draws for colonization first here. Okay, so I got a system with the same value in terms of production as my colonization ship, so I don't actually gain anything there, but that's what happens. I do gain a place where I can construct stuff, and here, same factor. I got another lousy system. Sometimes life doesn't treat you well. And now I'll move and get my attacks. So like this force is splitting up. I've got a lot of military capable units that maybe I don't want, because the morphogenetic is better for me for the chaos index. So I may be demobilizing a lot of my conventional army. those, and they were nearly guaranteed success. This one especially, nearly a guaranteed success. I didn't spend any illumination or anything. I've gotten a couple of systems, a little bit more income, but a lot more maintenance, and my maintenance costs are higher than my income. So it's almost assured that I'm going to be demobilizing a lot of these forces. Hey, I forgot to grab my chaos index. That thing's going to go down to like 0 at the, well, 1 at this point. So these converted, that's 6. And then I don't even want to count these because I've got these in place. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 more. So I'm at minimal chaos at this point. Demobilizing seems like a really clever idea overall. And not just so that I can pay my bills, but more importantly, so that I can start building up my colonization efforts. Right now I'm facing no threats whatsoever. I got this alien that I gotta check, and then I'll do my expedition. I'll be back. And the Imperial Expedition and the alien both were failures. The Imperial Expedition, well, that reduced my maintenance cost by 3. I had a big AF there as we push into the final turn of the game. And at this point, you know what? I can't colonize anymore. I had to do it this turn. I wasn't thinking too carefully. So this is pretty much where I'm going to be standing. And I think I'm going to be ever so slightly on the good side of things. I'll play out the last turn, but nearly nothing can really happen. I may not even finish the whole turn just because if my chaos is at 1, it's not going to go any lower. I'm not going to be able to colonize, so I'm not going to gain anything from that. So basically the victory points are set unless some chaotic event occurs. So we'll go through. Let's see what the first trip is. And by the way, 1 can't, because I can just deny it. But a good event could happen. Leviathan, I don't... Hold on. It wasn't a package. It was being informed that I've got no water for the next hour. Okay. I don't know where I was there. Oh, I drew the Leviathan. I don't have any real desire to have that. And I think we're done here. At least in terms of, you know, what effect the game's going to have. What effect the world's going to have on the game. So I'm going to do a quick count, just recount of the systems, and then and obviously I've got more points now from the index, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit about the results and what it would mean if I played out the full game. I'm not going to do it because it's obvious what it would mean. So I own 29 systems, which makes sense. I captured 2 more, and 2 more colonizations happened, plus 5 for the core. And obviously I could have scored more by building some colony ships on that last turn instead of so much military. I mean, I could have demobilized some of this stuff. That brings it to 34. And another 9 for this brings it up to 43. Which within the scenario says, hey, I'm getting expanding. Now, I think that's fair. In the sense that, yes, I am expanding. I'm recapturing that territory. And I don't have a galactic victory because I didn't do it quickly enough. And I'm perfectly willing to accept those results. It would have been possible, though. I was only at 43. A couple of points off. Maybe if I didn't colonize so much, I wouldn't have reached that. I'd be at the survival level. Now, if I look at the full game, I'm not far from it. Let's see. Continue play until the Galactic Empire wins a universal victory. It has a system in all sectors containing a system symbol and chaos indexes 10 or less. There's no time limit to this. Clearly, I'm going to reach that. I got too much power right now. The Institute, there are no chaotic events that are so earth-shattering, even the Messiah, that an empire that's fully functioning, like this one is, even though it's trimmed back a little bit, it's lost some sectors, some systems, can't overcome. Once the empire is healthy, And it's not healthy at the beginning of this scenario because there's 27 picks. Some of the other scenarios, I'll use some of this video to talk about this rather than put it in the review. The Civil War, what's so bonus on this one? So a 50-50 chance that each system is chaotic, and then you set up your units and a 50-50 chance all the units go chaotic. So you're basically going to be facing half the empire in collapse at that point. However, no special rules, 2 rounds of chaos events instead of 3. Okay, that's going to be painful. And the chaos is also at 80. That's a harder scenario, I think, to overcome than this first one. One of the gripes that some people had early on about this, and I think it's been improved to be more challenging, was that it was too simple for a solitaire game. The Empire Strikes. This sets up some chaotic empire, or some independent empires with leaders. That doesn't sound terribly potent. Chaos is at 80. There's going to be a sequence of this, I think, is those chaotic. So those independent empires are going to be about maximum size from what I can see of it, just skimming this. And the special rule is going to be 2 rounds of chaos events. Again, probably a tougher scenario, a harder starting situation. I like this one because it's like the empire's fine, boom, it gets hit. Eternal Empire, whole bunch of chaotic systems. I recruit a lot of crap in them. Two rounds of chaos events, and the Leviathan is enforced on you, which is going to make it... I don't like the Leviathan because it makes it harder to fix your situation chaos-wise. If the Empire is doing fine and a whole bunch of crap happens to you, which is what happens on the first turn, that might be worthwhile, but you probably want to lose the Leviathan eventually. Now, if we look at it stays out there. You can't get rid of it voluntarily, except by losing the core. And I think that's going to make the game a lot harder to win, to have the Leviathan. You notice I never picked it. I don't think it's particularly good. The Transhuman Revolt, same chaos level. A bunch of chaos systems. They start off with a pile of transhumans coming in, 1 per turn, along with a usurper. Place an imperial system in each of the... yeah. Not a lot of initial forces at all. You get the Leviathan and 3 rounds of chaos events. So the transhuman one sounds like it's going to be really, really hard. Now, the victory conditions are much less. So that's where, on one side, even if you found these too easy, you could just scale the victory conditions up, or you could play it with the I want to beat my last score type of idea, rather than and then you have an incrementally, or my best score. You get an incrementally harder and harder game because you're aiming at a target that's higher than where you were last. Second Empire starts with the entire world, the entire universe chaotic, basically. And I kind of like this one. A lower chaos index, but nowhere near as low as it would get, you know, if you were fighting a war consistently. The game, how long does it last? That's kind of an important factor. I think all of these last 10 turns, actually. This one's only 5 turns, the Empire Strikes. That's going to be hard to regain your territory in that, I think. But the others are 10 turns. There'll be no usurpers and no rebellions drawn randomly. They're going to instead be placed on the turn and cause issues as you go. And on the first turn, 3 grounds of chaos. That's going to make a mess there. Again, I probably played the easiest scenario by far. You can see I did feel like I was having some trouble at points, but then overcame it eventually. And I think the kind of strategy of using control groups rather than the military conquest, because that gives you 2 things. It gives you more troops and planets and stuff. It makes it easier to gain control of things. And it also gives you better chaos modifier than if you go for a more military solution. To me, this game has that as almost a guaranteed stronger strategy to approach the situation with. Alright, I think I've stretched this out as much as I can. I guess I'll go on to the review after I clean up.